Hey friends, this is Jeff. As many of you know, our book Around the Circle is up in print and on Kindle on Amazon.com. We are very proud of this book. Do take 10 seconds. Go take a look at it and see if it's for you. You can also listen to the entire annotated version on aroundthecircle.org, where TJ and I not merely talk about the content, but go much deeper with the ideas. But more importantly, if you sign up as a member in August at aroundthecircle.org, we're going to donate your full $20 to the Weld County Food Bank. Weld County Food Bank does a stellar job of feeding kids in our community, and we're going to do this, as we said last time, in the memory of Robin Williams. If you are more interested in the audio and long-form podcasts that we do, a host of new interviews are up at aroundthecircle.org. This weekend, we posted a conversation with Beth and Jeff McCord, and as we do these mistyping conversations, we're posting even more of them for our members. So go to aroundthecircle.org. Free members can see all that we have to offer, as well as a bunch of free stuff. Members will also get access to all our best material, our audiobook, and about 40 hours of new content, as well as access to our online workshops, which are going to be starting up this fall. So thank you for listening. May all good things be yours. Friends, Jeff, I'm with Griffin in Texas, and we're doing another mistyping discussion. So I haven't yet gotten a chance to meet Griffin, I'm meeting Griffin for the first time, and we're just jumping into this. So, my man, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm thrilled you're here. Tell me something about yourself.
We are northern transplants in Texas, and we are ambivalent about that. It is both good and bad.
What's the hardest thing about being a northerner in Texas?
Oh man, it's all of the fronting, honestly. We're both from places, especially my wife, we're both from places that you kind of get what you see. Nobody really fakes it, and down here it's everywhere. It's difficult to really get in for people. Yeah. And you kind of get a fake intimacy at an arm's length for quite some time, which is not what we would like. I mean, man, we moved down here relatively soon after we graduated college, and relationship building and building community is easy in college. Yeah. You're just kind of set up for that. So the combination of those two things, it was like, oh, this is hard. This is hard for a while. So we're rounding that corner. I feel like we're getting settled, but it took us a long time to figure that out. And to really find people that we could break through with.
Are you generally more of a social person?
I am, for sure. My wife goes back and forth, but yes, absolutely.
Well, what sort of work do you do?
So I work. I'm in the oil and gas field, but not the cool, flashy, makes a ton of money oil and gas side of it. Right. So I'm a landman, which is like the background work for all of these oil and gas leases. So my work's a lot of research. It's a lot of public documents, deeds, leases. It's pretty isolated, which is not great for me. But I didn't know it existed before we came down here. And because we moved for my wife's job, she works at an architecture firm, which is super cool. And I was job hunting. This came, and I was like, oh, this could be really good. Yeah. Didn't know it wasn't anything before we came to the South. So I've been doing it for about a year. That's what I get to do day to day. It provides a lot of flexibility, which is really sweet. At the same time, it's kind of boring, kind of isolated. Yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do every day. But yeah,
talk about isolation in a bit. Are you? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of three. My younger brother is 22, and my younger sister just turned 19. Yeah, both were adopted. My younger brother has disabilities, so he has cerebral palsy, wheelchair bound, pretty developmentally. I guess it's hit or miss. Emotionally, he's solidly a teenager. Intellectually, he's maybe a little further back, but it kind of depends on what area we're talking about. He's incredible spatially, but is terrible at math, like that kind of thing. But yeah, that's my younger brother, and then my younger sister is your typical 19-year-old girl.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a lot of ways. So
What was I don't want to push too far into that. That's interesting though. If you have anything
no,
to,
I mean we can go there
add
if you want to
there.
go there. That's totally fine.
What's one thing that you learned from having a brother with cerebral palsy? Sorry, with cerebral palsy.
Yeah, it's a tough one. There are a lot of syllables in there. They blur. Honestly, there's a lot of like, I think there's a lot of patience that kind of just gets forced on you, and some accommodating. Like you got to accommodate that in a lot of ways. So for me, it kind of feels like second nature, especially with Dom, my brother. But I mean, yeah, that there are things that become normal that as an older sibling, you learn to deal with, to help with, I mean, man, they become second nature that it's going to take 20 minutes to get Dom in bed every night.
Sure.
Or that he is going to have some emotional breakouts every so often, or he just requires a lot more attention in the same way. So like, it's funny, I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. I don't have the same like true only child experience, but I also don't quite have the grew up with siblings experience. Because I mean, I certainly did. Dom's about 3 years younger than me, and then Ellie, my sister, is about 3 years younger than him. But it changes the changes the dynamic a little bit. It's not really. My wife's got 4 older brothers. They'll tell stories about all of the shenanigans that they'll get into. That was not our experience. Right. I mean, I loved our situation. I have no real complaints, but I did not grow up really bullying my third sibling or something,
Right.
like her oldest brother did. But yeah,
that's very well said. You said you and your wife both went to college. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so we both went to Cedarville University. It's this small Christian school in Ohio. She was a couple years behind me. I was international politics, which is not remotely what I do now, but it was fun at the time, and who knows, maybe I'll find something that can bring it in. But yeah, international politics was my thing.
What drew you to that most?
Yeah, when I started, I went in as international politics and linguistics, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go do like diplomatic corps. This would be so cool. Just travel everywhere. The strategy there, the true like diplomacy work was really attractive to me. And then somebody was like, yeah, they move more than the military does, and you probably won't start until you're like 35, right? And I was like, oh, that changes things a little bit. Cause at the time I was dating this other woman, and I was like, I don't really want to be moving around that much. Like, I like the adventure aspect, but that there's also a yearning for some groundedness at the same time. And I think that's, even since then, as the situation's changed significantly, I see both of those sides of like, oh yeah, I want to go do something really sweet. My wife and I joke about, man, moving out to somewhere in Europe and just like doing it for a couple years. And then there's this other part of me that's like, I do, like, obviously it's taken us a long time to get grounded, even in this relatively familiar place. And that is a really, I think I am realizing more and more how healthy and helpful that is for me as I try to like live life in a good and thriving way. So there's this warring thing inside of me of yearning for something really sweet, and also really appreciating the grounded, connected spaces.
Yeah. Bang.
Yeah.
Turning back to travel for a second, do you get a chance to travel at all? Is that something in your bones?
Yeah, we got to a lot when I was younger, and then even through some of my schooling. Since we've gotten married, and I mean, just the kind of been out on our own, it's slowed just because it takes a lot of money and takes a lot of time to do that. But
sure.
We're kind of we're getting to this point as we're now, both of us are working, that it's like, okay, we could do this. So we've got some dreams on the near term horizon. But honestly, no, we haven't done a ton. We've been married for 3.5 years, and we honeymooned internationally. And outside of that, most of our travel's been like, okay, we're going back to family in Ohio, going back to a family in Pennsylvania, haven't really gotten to go explore and really take a big adventure since. So that I think both of us are kind of itching for it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it, when you think of rest, is it mostly like, are vacations in your mind, or do you do other things to rest? If you had all the money that you needed, what are you doing?
That's a good question. I think it's both vacations and all the other stuff. I think, I can't remember what source I'm pulling this from, but the kind of sabbatical type rhythms of like, okay, you get some sort of rest, maybe daily, some sort of rest, maybe weekly, and then maybe something bigger, longer term, deeper, maybe at longer intervals. So I think travel and the exploration is in there. And even I think when in vacations, I kind of go both ways. I want to be able to really stop moving and like just chill and just lay on a beach for a while. But I also want to be able to go do cool things the same, like back and forth. But then on the shorter term, I think there's something to just kind of collapsing on the couch at the end of the day with Brenna, to just kind of hang out, get a moment to do nothing and chill. And then also sort of, I've come to really find some rest in the slower, like, for example, we've gotten into this rhythm, especially over the summer down here. There are a number of farmers markets. We'll just kind of bounce between a couple of them every Saturday, maybe do some stuff domestically, like chore stuff when we get home. And that's our Saturday. And that doesn't sound very flashy, but it's time together. And it's not very rushed. It doesn't really feel like there's a bunch that we have to do, but it's a lot of stuff that we just kind of get to do. And that's been really restful for me at the same time. So I think there are maybe nesting dolls of rest across the life,
That works. Well, you're a little bit familiar with Enneagram, right?
Yeah, I was introduced to it when I was a freshman in college, which would have been 2018, 19. I'm 24 now. So, it's been a handful of years now, I guess. And
to pause there for a second, you're in college during COVID then?
Yeah, COVID lockdown stuff was halfway through my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Which was...
Were you going, did it go all online for you, or did you take time off?
It did for the semester.
Yeah.
I actually think we just didn't come back from spring break, maybe, or there might have been a week, which is crazy because we went out with some friends to we had a friend that had a house on the Jersey Shore, but I was in New York. I was in Times Square, 2 weeks before the world shut down. I was like, this is so crazy.
When you think back on that time, do you remember what you enjoyed most about kind of the lockdown and what was hardest for you?
Yeah. One of the coolest things, and it kind of comes out of the harder parts. So, I mean, just situationally, life-wise, COVID was almost this this background stage element for the relationship I referenced earlier kind of fell apart in that time. We had some weird the church I grew up in also kind of exploded in a different kind of way. And all of that's kind of happening that spring and summer of 2020. In the midst of that, though, the lockdown stuff, I was back at my parents' house and really got into, really started to take some of the art making stuff that I'd toyed with before a lot more seriously. So I started, the end of my freshman year, I started a creative writing minor, which I ended up finishing. But during lockdown is really when I got to just had all the time in the world to dive into that. I also sort of taught myself guitar in the same time, which everybody kind of did.
Sure. Right.
But so in the midst of the difficulty there, I also got to really dive into creating things out of it. Which I don't know that I necessarily would have had the time and attention for. Yeah. Outside of pretty much stripping everything else away.
What's normally the obstacle that you find to like doing creative stuff that you enjoy?
Yeah, I think there are a few. I think I can just get really busy, and that gets in the way plenty of the time. It's like, oh, I can't. I'm not prioritizing this highly enough that I'm carving out time for it, because it kind of feels like a side thing, a thing that I do when healthy. And I guess that's another thing. A lot of times it feels for me like it's either something that I do at the very bottom, like when everything's falling apart, or when it's kind of, everything's already kind of okay. Like I have to almost like, this is a thing that can help me get healthy, but almost it has to I have to be healthy to do it. Like almost this positive cycle that only starts at the top. I think honestly, I'm sure we'll get into this a little bit. I think I have come to recognize a lot more the way that shame just like creeps into stuff for me.
Sure.
And that a lot of times, like if I'm not doing great, if shame is like a big voice in my head, I will go and sit to write and really just spin my wheels on whatever that is pointing to.
Yeah.
Sometimes, occasionally, that can create something. A lot of times, the things that it creates, well, either it won't go anywhere, and nothing will get on the page, or the things that get produced in that headspace are really not. They're not ready. It's like this hasn't metabolized in the same kind of way.
Yeah.
It feels like this is shooting from the hip. This is maybe angry. This is maybe self-pitying, so like something that when I look back later, it's like, oh, this can stay. This doesn't need to go anywhere. This is is purely therapeutic in a sense. At the same time, when I can write not in that space, it really comes alive in a different kind of way. Yeah.
When you talk about shame, could you define shame? Like when you talk about that emotion, like what's going on there?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Of all things, I just got done with the podcast where we were talking about this for 2 hours, so it's fresh in my mind.
Okay,
and
so
I was
it's on
like,
the mind, right?
There's all sorts of things you could say about this. Anyway, I would be curious what you'd say.
Yeah, I think shame for me is this kind of feels like a trap or a net, where just like all the stuff that I have done or aspects of myself that don't live up to what I want to be, just get like I'm just stuck in it. And it's like, oh well, this happened and I can't stop thinking about it, or I can't stop thinking about what might come of it, or like what if people knew, like it's the and then that I think shame is this, for me it's this huge engine that leads to hiding. I'm just like, okay, like this this stuff can't get out, which has been a big learning point, growth point, place of meditation for me over the last couple of years. Of just like, I hide a lot, and I think it all comes out of this. Like, people can't know about this part of who I am, or this thing that I've done, or that marks me. And because what would happen if they did? Like, what would, I think, I mean, I kind of referenced, I threw out 3 and maybe 4, maybe 7 in my initial pitch. And I feel like I've heard people talk, before I realized the shame language, before I really connected there, which would obviously lead towards like 3, 4. I connected with some people talking through 7s with like a fear of abandonment, to an extent. And I think those two really just mix in the middle for me. Like, I don't know which one comes first. I don't know which one is more foundational, but
Yeah.
I think ultimately shame is this, like, okay, there's this part of me that doesn't live up to what I want or what I perceive other people to want, or whatever. Something is not good enough. Something is not what it should be or could be.
Do you feel like when you experience shame, does it come up most of the time as just kind of an underlying kind of feeling, or is it pop up only when you're like really self-critical?
I'm not sure if it is just really underlying all the time, or if I just shift into that self-critical space a lot. I don't know. That's a difficult question. I don't know if it's targeted. Like, I guess, what would it showing up as an underlying? What's the difference in your head as you ask that question?
Sometimes shame can get experienced more when things are breaking, but not a lot, just normally. Like, normally you're walking through life and you don't question your value, but some people question their value all the time and live in a space that's more about comparison. That might be a question. Do you find that you compare yourself to others quite a bit?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah,
but I think as you say that, I think that it resonates more as this kind of
constant,
pretty consistent in a lot of facets too. It's like,
yeah,
it could be in the gym, it could be at the church, it could be in work,
Mm-hmm.
it could be in anything. I think, yeah.
Do you find yourself thinking about past relationships frequently?
Yeah, I guess to an extent. It doesn't feel like it dominates, but that's in there.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
well, do you have a hard time planning for next Friday?
No.
But do you enjoy planning for next Friday?
I think it depends on what I'm planning.
Wait, what sort of stuff do you enjoy planning?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's a social thing, if it's something that feels like leisure, yeah, absolutely, bring it on. I'll put that on the calendar right now. And then the other side of that of, oh, this is work, or this is a thing that I just have to do, I think I can plan that. That's fine. It's just not, obviously it's not very fun, It's just kind of, for me, it has to happen. I used to be so good at holding everything in my brain, and that skill is gone, for me at least. So I'm heavily reliant. I don't know. At this point, I'm just heavily reliant on like my Google Calendar and like writing things down, and even the act of like asking my wife to remind me of a thing will probably keep it in my brain better. But there was a time in my life, especially with like schoolwork, where it could just be like, okay, I have this for this class, I have this for this, I have this for this. I don't really need to write anything down. It's just kind of generally flowing.
Yeah.
And that, I think that skill has waned quite a bit.
Dang. You have a home in Texas. Do you have a space that's yours?
Yeah. I mean, we rent, but we've been here the whole time. So it's kind of become ours over the last 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, let me restate that. Do you have like an office that's yours?
Oh, I mean, I use this. I can work from anywhere, which is awesome. I use our home office / I guess library, probably half the time. And then I frequently will go and just work from like a coffee shop. I love that vibe, the sort of crowded, lots of people like that feels a really productive space for me. So I would prefer to do that all the time. For me at least, I struggle to sit at a coffee shop all day because of like lunch and I work from this space pretty frequently, and then I will also branch out and pull up to some coffee shop, restaurant, something for a while too.
Do you have a problem working by yourself, or do you enjoy working by yourself?
I think the actual work is fine. I feel like I can sometimes in like a true group thing can get pretty either distracted or just kind of circle around in meetings, but the work like lifestyle, man, I don't love, I guess I could do work alone all day if there were people beside me all the time. And that's kind of okay. So like solitary work, but not solitary would be totally fine. I don't have any issue with kind of locking in, doing what needs to be done on my own. But I get pretty bogged down when it's just like me in my office with the dog all the time. So, so I guess somewhere in the middle there.
Bang. I want to go back to something you talked about earlier about hiding. And is that like a normal place that you live, that you just find that you live in your interior life, or is that more of a response to stressful situations?
I'm not sure. I think I get there commonly. It does feel, I mean, like, I don't feel like I'm hiding. I guess it doesn't feel like there's any reason to hide anything that doesn't feel stressful or bad or like worth hiding. Yeah. So it does feel kind of implicitly linked to the negative. But I don't know. That's an interesting question. I mean, it feels pretty common for the things that you'd want to hide, you know?
Sure.
And even the things that don't necessarily feel that important. I mean, it's to the point where it's like, man, maybe I'll switch cards to the one that my wife doesn't get a notification for when I go to the coffee shop for the 4th time this week. And it's like, that's a pretty small example. That doesn't really matter. She's not actually going to get mad, but that's in there. I do that on occasion. And I mean, on bigger stages too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, Griffin, I'm all over the place in terms of my thinking. So I may just be a little bit more direct for a little bit.
Sure.
And just see what happens. I feel like I have a good sense of kind of your heart and how you come to the world. And so, yeah, I mean, these are going to feel more Enneagrammy kind of questions.
Sure. Bring it on.
Just to start, if you had to choose, do you get more value out of the relationships that you invest in, the activities that you accomplish, or just taking things easy? If you had to choose one of the three, happiness is found in relationships. It's found in my accomplishments. It's found once I get everything done and just have some peace and ease.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident it's not the last one.
Okay.
The activity versus relationships are closer. And honestly, when you asked the question the first time, I think you said maybe meaning. Mm-hmm. And then I think the second time you maybe said something like happiness or joy. Mm-hmm. And it might split down that line for me.
Sure.
I think relationships are where I think that's where I'm pulling the happiness and the joy. And I think meaning's in there, but I think about meaning, and I think much more about like, okay, like what am I doing? What is my, I think accomplishment gets much more meaning in my head. I mean, I think about my work. I don't love my job. A lot of times it'll feel like I'm really just serving somebody else's bottom line. Mm-hmm. And that bugs me a lot. Cause it feels like this is pretty meaningless work for me. Mm-hmm. So I think it splits. I think it splits in that direction, which obviously, doesn't really sort super well. But I'm confident that it's not the third.
Perfect. Do you find that you're thinking about relationships most of the time?
Maybe. I'm thinking about my relationship with my wife a lot. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I think there's a pretty steep drop off. Mm-hmm. So it's in my brain. I don't know that it's like always in there for kind of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that you verbally process with your wife?
Yeah, pretty consistently. Yeah.
What are things that you normally find yourself talking about? Do you talk about relationships? Do you talk about things that might go wrong? Do you talk about what you want to do? What kind of things come out of your mouth most of the time?
I think there's a good deal of kind of relationship stuff. She's a 9. She's really good at kind of broadening perspectives for me sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I think there's also, I mean, you said the what do you want to do stuff. I think she is a good sounding board for me on a lot of the hopes and aspirations. A lot of the times of like, okay, like I'm thinking about doing this. Does that sound like a good idea? I think that could be really sweet. What could go wrong? I don't necessarily resonate with that. I don't find myself to be very anxious, I guess. So that doesn't really come up for me very much.
Yeah. Do you find that when you connect with other people, that you're pulling them into the things that you're doing, or do you connect in other ways?
I think a lot of times it's a pull. Sometimes even just to almost the ideas. Like, man, I'll sit and talk to somebody for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Just like random mornings. And I think that the times where that feels most like, oh, this is really clicking, is just in this like really fast back and forth. Like, this is so cool. Look at this thing. Mm-hmm. But I think I've learned to maybe try to go toward in a lot of ways, rather than say like, hey, look at this thing that I'm doing, to say either like, hey, what's the thing that you love, or just to kind of meet in something else at the same time. So I think implicitly though, most naturally, it's a lot of look at this thing that I'm really loving right now.
Yeah.
Or come do this thing that I think is really sweet.
Do people think that you're a very, very responsible person?
Yeah, I think that's generally true.
Where's your sense of responsibility kind of come from?
I think I like, okay, let me rewind. I think my dad, at some level, I think my dad is, man, he's huge on responsibility, but not in a way that, like, I didn't grow up with this kind of drill sergeant type, like, you have to, like, this is exactly who you've got to be kind of thing. But man, my dad, like, has always been very good about showing up for people in the really sweet things, and also the hard things, and also just the things that you need to show up for. Like, I can't tell you how many times I was just kind of pulled in as my dad and a bunch of his friends would be like moving somebody when I was a kid. And I think that's the background. I'm trying to mine for a more kind of emotional motive kind of thing underneath that for myself. Honestly, I think it comes back to this desire to just like, no, I want to show up. I don't want to be somebody who leaves people out to dry. I don't want to be somebody who lets the ball drop. But generally things just kind of work enough too. Like, it's like, okay, yeah. I don't find myself behind a lot.
Right.
Like, I don't find myself in a space that's like, oh, I've got to, like, this is a point where I might actually accidentally be irresponsible at the same time.
Do you find that you have a hard time getting into your body and doing things, or is that pretty natural for you?
I don't think that's usually pretty difficult for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Is it important to you that other people acknowledge the things that you do?
Yeah. This gets to one of my biggest questions around type 3. Because it's like, I think that's in there for sure. That's in there. But I think I'm much more interested in, I think there's a big part of me that's like, if I have the quality that would get the admiration that 3s are always kind of talked about searching for, that would be enough, even if the admiration doesn't necessarily come. Obviously I want the admiration. That would feel amazing. But for me, man, it feels a lot more like, I want to be the thing that would get that, like that deserves that earns that. I want to be valuable, not just like be seen as valuable. Can you talk about earning for a minute? Yeah, I think, man, earning is one of those that it's an Enneagram buzzword in my head at this point. So I'm trying to separate the two, because I don't feel like the really responsive dependent type. Like, oh, this is I'm really bouncing off what other people have for me. But at the same time, like, I think I am still getting a lot of that self-image, a lot of that kind of how am I doing based on other people. So it's kind of, I go back and forth. I don't feel like I'm earning. I don't feel like I'm in that headspace a lot, but it does kind of feel like some of that standing, some of that value, as much as I talk about like just wanting to be valuable, wanting to be kind of wanted, some of that obviously comes from other people. Like, I think a decent amount of that I'm picking up from other people, even though it's not. So that feels paradoxical in my head, of like not wanting the acclaim, but also some of that kind of coming naturally out of other people at the same time feels like they contradict. Somehow it still makes sense in my head. Yeah.
That works. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything here.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you find when you experience anger,
Mm-hmm.
does it come out towards others as frustration?
Is that compared to a different form, or is that like as opposed to like holding it in, or
As opposed to, yeah, that's a good question. Isn't that the only sort of anger? As opposed to just a rage at others, as opposed to frustration has to do with ideals not being met.
Sure. Oh, man, I think honestly, a lot of my anger, if it's towards a person, will probably get bottled. It doesn't come out much. At the same time, I think if it's towards a thing or towards like a situation, I think that can feel much more like that sort of frustration of like, this isn't how it should be. This isn't meeting the ideal, to use that phrase that we kind of have been thrown around.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think if it's towards a person though, man, I don't think that it comes out near as readily for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When you're helping other people, do you expect them to help you in the future?
Not really.
Okay. It feels like you have an easier time talking about like quote unquote negative emotions. Do you have a problem like pointing at, well, no, let me restate this. Would you have a problem talking to another person for a while about their grief or about their sadness?
I don't think so. I will say feel like I've done a lot of work there.
Right.
So it doesn't feel quite like that. Feels like maybe, obviously I'm not by no means am I fully developed, but that feels like maybe one of those areas that I've really tried to pour into, especially, I mean, man, in our marriage, if I couldn't do that, I'd be ridiculously unhealthy and would not be very good for my wife. But I think in general, I think I can go there with people. I wonder if, I don't know if it's an endurance thing or if it's like an effect kind of thing. I think at some point I can run into this thing of like, okay, like, what are we doing at this point?
Yeah.
Are we just like sitting in it or, and I recognize the value. Yeah.
If you see somebody progressing, like you're sitting with them in their sadness, but you do feel a little bit of forward motion, is that something that does something for you?
Yeah, I think there's like, I know the value of just kind of being in it with people, but I think that it is all about forward motion at some point, right? It's like,
right.
Okay, we can just sit, shiva. Hopefully we're healing. Like hopefully things are improving. Yeah.
Are you concerned at all, or do you think much about your diet or your sleep regimen? Are those ever on your mind?
Yeah. I may not be quite as religious about it as some people are, but that's on the mind. I think honestly over the last 2 years, maybe it's kind of built. It's gained a lot of momentum for me as I've been thinking about sleep is less so. I mean, man, married to a 9, I don't lack for sleep. But man, yeah, diet, exercise, like that is I've been really ramping up my activity and also like trying to eat better, trying to eat more specifically and enjoying it. For me, it's both. Okay, I want to be in like really good shape for the like aesthetics, but also the quality of life. So those are the kind of two. I think the two motivations behind that primarily, but it is. I mean, it's in my brain pretty consistently. Yeah. So this is a super unfortunate thing about me that I type
everybody as an Enneagram 1, and I'm just very aware that I'm going down this path again, which it might just be the case that the first 3 interviews just all had people who might be on that one side. But that's a lot of the things that I'm hearing from you tend to go down that road. I'm real interested still in 3-ness as well. And I do think the considering 7 and 4 would make a lot of sense, especially as you're talking about what getting into your creative side kind of looked like and what was required to get there. That stands out to me. 4's being married to 9, though it can happen, just it's not very common. And 7's married to 9 can be. But 7's married to 9 would generally, a lot of the energy is going to be coming from the 7 there, and in terms of where you're going. So I suppose the only thing that's kind of keeping me back here is your wife's a 9. She's an architect. I assume she got a great job, and you're serving her, responding to this job. Is there anything I'm missing there in terms of the move to Texas?
Yeah, I mean, she graduated, and this was like a dream step. She studied industrial design, which is parallel, but not the same. There's no guarantee that you get into a true architecture field. I mean, she hasn't done the grad school. She's not licensed, but they still took her. So for us, it was like, this is maybe perfect. Like, this is a once in a lifetime. Like, we can't say no to this. But I did not. I was a little miffed for a little bit. I did not want to bail. I was working at a church up there. I was really connected to like the Young Life community. It's relatively close to my family. So it took me a little bit to be like, okay, I guess I'm down for this.
Yeah.
But it was really like, okay, this is a huge dream step for you. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's move the 15 hours and make it work. Yeah.
All that makes sense. And I suppose I missed that you were in church work. Politics and church work, both those kind of draw a certain sort of person. Sure. I suppose I could ask you questions on that front, but you had talked about really getting into ideas, getting that fast moving going. I assume that's a place that you really feel a lot of that kind of energy, the ideas around theology and politics. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Do you find that you're idealistic in those spaces, that you really would like to have not just good thoughts and understanding, but that you would like to have the right answers on those fronts to help people?
Yeah, church stuff especially. Politics, I mean, right now politics feels like the ideal feels unattainable. Yeah. But church stuff, I don't know that it's necessarily having the right answers. You say that, and I don't resonate with that super well. For me, it's like, okay, is the church bringing people back to life? Like, are we refreshing people? Like, are we doing the thing that feels like what we're here to do? So a lot of, like, I will get, and this is going to sound really one-ish, I will get pretty frustrated by churches around here, because it's like, okay, this is like the phrase somebody used when we got down here was the shine on the buckle of the Bible Belt.
Sure.
And that is immensely frustrating to me at times, because it's
all show.
It's all show, and it's all heavily like moralistic.
Sure.
It's just like, okay, like, what are we going to do differently this week? But it's not actually, it's really just how much am I going to read my Bible, and not like, what am I going to do for the guy down the road? Sure. So I will get frustrated in that a lot, and get frustrated in just kind of, we miss the plot a lot of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, politics doesn't get there quite as much. But regardless, I think the ideas are fun to think about, and will really get me going at the same time.
Yeah. That's perfect. Well, this is what we're going to do. I got you 50 minutes in before we get to the silly book. You'll be familiar with the fact that we published a book and that there's a Mistyping chart in the back. What I'm going to do for us is something different, as opposed to just picking two numbers. I would love to, this can be a way that you use the book, There's another set of charts, and it's just about themes for ones that occurs before the mistyping chart. And I'm going to read 4 quotes that are in this of ones describing themselves. And just want to hear, does this resonate with you? Does it not resonate with you? And then I'm going to pick out some themes. But
Sure.
one describing themselves says, even though I judge constantly and crave autonomy, I'm always monitoring myself so I don't come across as controlling or judgmental. When I'm feeling secure, I'm spontaneous, fun-seeking, and I can laugh off issues that would otherwise frustrate me. But when I'm stressed, it feels like I'm the only one who cares. Do you resonate with that kind of language?
The first half, not really. The second half, more so, but I wouldn't say that feels primary in a sense. It's like, okay, I think I can get there in stress and insecurity for both of those. But I don't know that feels like, oh yeah, that is what stress is. That is what security is.
Perfect. That's a great answer. Another one. I notice mistakes and systemic issues and fixate on them. This usually comes off as seeming angry about something when there's actually a deeper issue I need to address that's completely unrelated.
I resonate with that more. I think I'm certainly, I do see a lot of the kind of structural, systemic things. It's probably true that my anger gets a little high when there's other issues at the same time, but I don't know that I've necessarily seen that correlate before. I've not noticed that. I've not pulled that out ahead of time.
It's perfect. That's very helpful. I mean, actually, like also disconfirming types is also can have its value. Last one for us. I feel a constant drive to get something done. I don't feel good about myself unless I push the ball forward. I've learned that others don't often appreciate my improving energy, so I carve out spaces that are mine and push all my efforts into there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe similarly to that first one of like, I think it's in there, but I don't know that it's like, yeah, that really rings true. I think I've got the improving energy, but I don't know that it feels like this is the thing.
Yeah. I'm going to skim 2s, 3s, and 7s, which I think are possible as well. 2s might describe themselves as, I'm a daily recovering people pleaser who just wants to love people so well that I forget to love myself that same way. I feel what others are feeling more easily than I feel my own feelings. Does that connect with you at all?
Not really. Yeah, not really.
Perfect. On the 3 side, I see the world as beautifully broken and... No, this is 4. Sorry. 3s don't say that.
That doesn't really...
I want to achieve the goals prescribed for a good life. I see the world and my life as a place that can always be better. There's something to always get done. I shine under the spotlight and under pressure.
I mean, I certainly resonate with that more than 2.
Perfect.
And I think more than the one
stuff.
blurbs. Yeah.
While it may be cultural, there's this type of hustle mentality that overhangs me, and I have to be mindful to set healthy boundaries between rest and productivity. I like to think of myself as a huge supporter and cheerleader for those I love around me.
Yeah, I resonate with that
Boom.
pretty solidly. I do wonder, like, man, I don't feel like that much of a careerist. It may just be that I'm not in a career that I don't love.
Sure.
Or there's a double negative in there, but I do. I mean, I relate to a lot of the rest of it, the rest and work thing, the cheerleading thing, it just feels like there's kind of always something to do that could be really awesome.
Does the idea of really feeling like you need to fix things, live according to a standard, be morally upright, are those things that kind of resonate for you, or is that kind of secondary?
I think the ideal behind fixing things does. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like, okay, if something's broken, if something's not what it could be, like, yeah, of course, let's make it better. Mm-hmm. The standard and the morally upright thing is it's, I mean, it sounds gross to say, but it's like, yeah, I don't know that sinks really deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's swing around then to threes and sevens. I would love to do the comparison between threes and sevens and just hear what kind of comes forth. So from the book, threes often want admiration, sevens often want excitement. Do either of those pull at you more?
Yeah, I mean, those feel like tight competition in different spaces.
Good. Threes often fear being average. Sevens often fear being limited.
Average.
Boom. Threes often perform to impress others. Sevens often reframe in order to enjoy their life.
Performance.
Threes often adapt to succeed. Sevens adapt for more options.
Maybe both, but honestly, maybe like I don't feel like I'm settled enough to be like it feels like success might be more options right now.
Yeah.
Just in our stage of life.
For sure. Threes often will shape their image, and sevens will often shift their focus somewhere else.
Can you say more about that? Specifically the seven side?
The seven side would be recognizing, like, actually just immediately knowing this is just an unpleasant situation. Let's think about a different thing that we could be doing. And the shift would
be that
way.
I think I resonate more with the three then. I don't really. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Are you like when you think about the church life in Texas, as you were saying in the Shine? Is it as though, do you see that the sort of image that some people project, that it is an image projection? Like, are you really aware?
Yeah.
This is what's taking place.
Yeah, pretty frequently.
And do you find that you can have that same tendency sometimes to become what others need you to be?
Yeah, I find myself fighting it a lot. Yeah, but it's in there for sure. It's in there.
Boom. Of all things, that would be the place. That would be a big one for me, right there. Is it the case that your wife's success in her job is something that you really internalize? That it's, what do you call that? I forget what you call that. Like, you're living vicariously at some level through some of her successes. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think to an extent. It's like, oh, the firm that she works with is really involved in this community. They're doing a lot of the big things in town, so it's a pretty well known company. And their projects are pretty well done too. So it's kind of fun to be like, oh yeah, she works here and is working on this project. And I will say, like, I think we focus more on some of her own insecurity in work. So I don't know that I necessarily get to that as often. It's like, okay, I've got to get her back up to neutral before I get into the positive of like, oh yeah, this is really great. But yeah, I think that's in there.
Do you feel like you'll spin things in a positive way of how things are going for others? Like you're pointing out, this is where things are really great.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do that for sure.
So just took a big left turn for me, but that's helpful because it does make a lot of sense of a lot of the things that we're putting forward. So you put forth like well, I just want to restate these, but the comparison ended up being something that you really can feel, that you're aware of shame and just your sense of value. See, my edits are really good.
Yeah, this is a cool peek behind the curtain. It's also fascinating. I'm a 2Xer usually, so like it's like, oh, this is what his voice sounds like in normal speed.
Right? Is that because would you describe yourself as somebody who wants to be efficient?
Yeah, I think that's in there.
That's the slam dunk right there. You can.
Oh yeah.
You can just go to the bank with threeness now. I would be curious about how verbal processing and your need to ask your spouse to remember things work. Those are things I wouldn't normally associate with threeness. I don't know what else to say there, but that would be a thing for me.
Interesting. Yeah. I think, I mean, honestly, I think we haven't really talked subtypes. I'm pretty confident that I'm pretty heavy on the like 1-to-1 sexual thing.
I think that too.
That came through. Oh, crazy. I think like I don't know that I necessarily go there with a lot of others. Mm-hmm. But I think there's something to, I mean, I guess to speak it, to lean into the three language. Just like I want to be, I guess the primary feedback for any sort of value, acclaim, whatever buzzword we want to use is going to be my wife. It's going to be like, it's going to be her. So I think there's a part of me that's like, okay, I want to make sure we're on the same page here. I want to make sure this is going to be a good step. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's where that's coming from. Just kind of doing whatever possible to make sure that is tight, is going to work. Because the flip, like disconnection there, terrifies me. Like that is just like the worst case scenario would be. I did something, and then there's a rift now. So I think the verbal processing comes back to, well, I really don't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. So permission rather than forgiveness on a lot of things. Which is not. I don't know that that's how I normally operate, but it is how I operate. But it is
with her, right? Do you find that you're a risk taker?
Yeah, I think I don't know that metric is like through the roof, but I think it's in there, or at least I think I want to be a risk taker, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last question on your church work, was it really important for everyone to feel like they were part of something special? Did you find that was a big part of your job, that you wanted to just create the atmosphere where like this is a great thing that we're all doing together?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know that I've ever really put that language there.
Yeah.
But I resonate with that quite a bit. And even since, like, I still volunteer with Young Life, and that's in there for sure. Mm-hmm. There too. I like that language.
Bing. That would be a place, like, especially in terms of how we connect with other folks, of what threes, especially real healthy threes, can do is they're creating spaces for everybody else to feel successful is not a big enough word. It'd be more like, but feel like they're part of something that's valuable, and desiring other people to feel like they're valuable. And that's some of the stuff I'm hearing. I think just to kind of land the plane, I think that it would be wise to kind of push into threeness. Next steps in my mind is just to really look at the descriptions with fresh eyes, and just reacquaint yourself with some of the specific language, especially about shadow side stuff. So if it is the case that you recognize or can recognize, am I ever being deceptive? How do I wrestle with my own sense of valuelessness? Is it the case that, something like vanity kind of takes over, and those might be some reflections worth having. But on the other side, I think that those recognizing your stress and security moves are the next, like, real just helpful spot of being able to say, so if you're married to a 9, you have a relationship on the line. Right. And if that's the case, it should feel like, and I heard this in your language, like your wife really is a healthy person that already lives in your stress number. So when things do get stressful, that's kind of a person that's kind of gives you some stability there.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that how you experience that? And so yeah, just kind of like acquainting yourself with how you recover. These can be great exercises, but the real value that you bring to the world as a 3, at least in my experience, ends up being that atmosphere creator of like bringing up the energy of others to see that they're part of something worthwhile. Yeah, that's always, it's not just the cheerleading, but the sense of value that threes can bring to others is just a real treasure to a lot of us. Those are some of the, I suppose, first steps that kind of come to my mind. Do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a great, that sounds like a great aspiration. I love that. That'd be awesome.
Given what you know of threes, do you have any thoughts or questions on threes?
Yeah, one of the things that we kind of question is like what, like, and maybe you've already answered this with the creating spaces, the cheerleading stuff, but like that move to 6 always confuses me.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
There's what commonly happens with threes is once you feel like you're valuable, you don't have to spend all the time telling other people that you're valuable. Because oftentimes threes can really take hold of others' attention. Threes can often get up on stage and say, I'm here and I want all eyes on me, as it were. But if you feel like you're valuable, it's going to naturally kind of move into, I want everybody else to feel valuable. And that's the 6, looking out for the community element begins to emerge there in my mind. The 6 move is going to open up your mind. I don't know if any of that resonates with you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure.
The getting in the present can be very difficult for threes. But they can get there both in their stress number and in their security number, that you kind of get more in touch with your body and your surroundings. I still need to do a lot of work on stress and security moves, and so it's of all things, it's just not coming to my mind as cleanly as it should be.
Which book is that? Is that book 4?
That's going to be number 3.
3, okay.
So 3 is turning out to be a catch-all of of a ton of stuff. Is unfortunately how things are presently piling up. But
what's the order? What's the structure? Or if you're allowed to.
No,
share
it's in the front of the book. If you want to look, we're going to do the second book is going to be on steps. So what is the next? Once you know your type, what next? And so we talk about like, what does it look like to talk about Enneagram with a friend? What does it look like to engage your shadow side? What does it look like to really embrace the heart's message? And so like it's elements of that sort. So that would be another thing for threes, like elevating truth and honesty can be a real helpful practice. Really reminding yourself that you have value outside of anything that you do for others can be very valuable, like place to get to meditation wise. And then our third book is going to be on stress and security moves. And I imagine we're going to spend a ton of time on that. Like it sounds it sounds basic, but it actually just has so many ripples. So I could talk about this all day long. I'm gonna
yeah, I mean this is your life. So
yeah, but yeah. Any other thoughts or questions on threeness? I think that.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we get off this call, they're going to tumble in, I'm sure. Yeah. But I don't think so. I think that this has been helpful confirmation, because I think I was leaning towards 3 already.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense with like a 3 with a strong 4 wing. I think fits for me. Mm-hmm. The 9 stress move, I think makes sense to me. That's honestly the thing that that my wife, she's the one that really started the seeds of doubt as I transitioned from like really thinking of myself as a 7 to maybe thinking through this 3 thing. She's like, dude, when you're stressed, you just like shut down. You just take a nap.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
This
is helpful.
I was trying to put my finger on that. Bang, that's good confirmation. Good.
Sweet.
Griffin, it was fantastic meeting you and getting a chance to connect with you. Do stay in touch. I would love to. We'll have all sorts of stuff through our website that's coming up. But yeah, I would love to hear how things go for you as you move forward. So
cool. Hey, thank you. This has been great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.